Hi, Laurie here. Talk to you a little bit about data visualization, and most of the tips and tricks that you'll be seeing and hearing about today come from this wonderful book called Storytelling with Data. I highly recommend it, particularly if you think you might be using presentations or visualizations in your career, because you'll be able to pick up some great ideas from this book, and I highly recommend that you pick it up, hold on to it, and use it throughout your career. At some point in your career, you will need to use data to inform or persuade. Knowing how to do great visualizations can advance your career. Of course, some graphs are better to use than others depending on your data and your message. It's very important to build your repertoire of potential charts to be used. You probably already have some go-to charts that you like more than others, but it's important to have as many as possible at your fingertips so that you can help your data speak. There are 3 things you need to consider before you put together your visualization. Who will be seeing or using the viz? Where and when will you be presenting your viz? Will you be presenting it at a conference of 600 people or in a conference room with half a dozen folks? In a memo to top management or in your blog? Most people try to construct a one-size-fits-all visualization, something you can use in a written document and a live presentation. They're looking to fill in this shaded gray area of dual purpose. I'm going to urge you to be willing to adapt your visualization to the circumstances. There may be more than one version of your visualization that you will want to make so that you can pick the right one for each circumstance. There are so many kinds of charts. Let's start with that. What Excel calls them is charts. They are sometimes also called graphs or graphics. The most basic graphic is a single number or word. That keeps your audience focused on your main point pretty effectively. Here is an example. In this case, we're trying to tell our audience and inform them that 3.6 times more that they are 3.6 times more likely to drink their sugar caffeine than to eat it. The key here is to pick an important fact or factor to stress. The number has to be central to your argument, whatever that might be. A large irrelevant number is a losing proposition. Another easy way to develop visualizations is a table. However, beware. Tables are dangerously close to boring and can be blinding in a live presentation. We all know that a table of numbers can be overwhelming, and once we are overwhelmed, we start to daydream, and the presenter has lost us. A good table, if there is such a thing, focuses on the points you want to make. Use highlighting, circling, different color text, etc. to help you focus your audience on just 1 or 2 key numbers in your table. Remember, your audience has to pay attention for you to get your point across, so use tables sparingly. Bar charts are, of course, a real go-to. For categorical data, nothing beats a good bar chart, and they're so versatile. You can do them in different directions, and you can even stack them to convey a lot of information quite quickly. Let's take a look at the different types. Vertical bar charts are perhaps the most common, and they work well if you have a half dozen or so possible answers to display. If you have more than that, the field can get crowded and the labels can be hard to read. That's when you move to a horizontal bar chart like this one. There are 2 big advantages of a horizontal bar chart. The first is that you can have a lot more possible answers because your chart can just extend down the page. Also, if your category names are long, this allows them to be easily read. And you can even do the equivalent of a crosstab using a bar chart. And here we see one using the vertical stacked bar. The vertical stacked bar chart shows us the responses broken out by gender, this one. The same chart can be flipped on its side to make a horizontal bar chart. Depending on what you are conveying and how much data you have to show, you may want to choose this horizontal style. There are quite a few more chart types, so let's work our way through them. Line graphs are great for what we call time series data. That means results that vary over time. Scatter plots allow us to see how one variable relates to another variable. Heat maps are terrific. Here we have a heat map which shows the higher percentage in a darker shade of blue. This allows the viewer to quickly focus on the top results by looking for dark blue, or the bottom results for looking for light blue or white. A slope graph is helpful if you are trying to focus attention on change over time. Here we can quickly see that culture has improved over the year, while career development is on a pretty steep decline. Area maps are more like line graphs with the area filled in below the line. They can also be used with one or more variables to create a stacked area map. You just have to be careful not to overdo it, or you will end up with something that looks like the Earth Science book picture of sedimentary rock. The waterfall is a great chart, but it has to be used wisely. It is particularly good for helping to explain changes over time. In this case, we can see that while we netted up 16 employees in 2014, it is really a result of adding 38 employees and then dropping 22 others. The square area map is a great way to visualize a part of a whole. We can quickly see that the aqua-colored squares are a small fraction of the light gray squares. This chart tells the whole story of a recruiting in a simple graphic. Not all charts are created equal. Some charts that are very popular today have some intrinsic negatives that make them hard to use effectively. The first of these is the pie chart. Many data visualizing professionals believe the pie chart is evil because it is very ineffective when used with more than 3 possible responses. That is because our visual ability to distinguish the relative size of the pie slice is quite limited. If you must use a pie chart, be sure to add in labels that give you information on the size of each slice. This can be a raw count of responses in each slice or the percentage of responses in that slice. I think percentages is usually better. The donut chart is just a pie chart with a circle cut out of the middle. The donut chart suffers from the same issues that the pie chart has, and so I recommend you use it judiciously. There is no doubt it is interesting and colorful, but the point of the graphic or chart is to be informative, and sometimes the donut chart just can't get that job done. Finally, the last chart that is not recommended is the 3D chart, and that's because it's hard to read. Is exercise an 11 or a 10? Does exercise look more than 5 times larger than eat something with sugar or caffeine or both? The third dimension may look cool, but it doesn't help your data tell its story. Even after you've chosen your chart, you still have lots more to think about. What colors should you use? Can you pick colors that help the audience intuitively understand the data? For example, negative is often conveyed by red, while positive is shown in green. Should you use your company colors? The answer is only if it helps you tell your data story. Tone is important too. What tone are you trying to set with the audience? Are you there to entertain, inform, advise, persuade? Is your audience made up of peers or upper management or possible customers? In addition, how do you want to design the layout of your data story so that it is compelling and leads the audience to the same conclusion that you came to from looking at the data? And finally, what story are you trying to tell overall? What can you do to make sure that story is clear and compelling? Well, that's probably enough for now. Learning how to create great visuals is a lifelong pursuit. You are just getting started, and we are willing to bet that you will be much better at using them to help your data tell its story by the end of the semester. Thanks for listening.